Hi everybody, welcome to Decode Australia. Today is Friday, September 11th, 2020. That's great stuff because the weekend is coming. By the way, my name is Tamer.
My name is Yvonne.
And we're going to be starting the Aussie-US analysis. And by the way, yesterday, our Euro-US analysis, if you took our advice, you would have made some handy profits.
Yep. So now let's start with Aussie-US. The Australian dollar rose against the US dollar on Friday, increasing the price of Aussie-US pair to more than 72 cents, ahead of the release of the US Consumer Price Index exclude food and energy news. The technical bias remained bullish since the price of the pair marked a higher high in the recent upside move, as shown in the graph later on.
Now, the Aussie-US is currently hovering around the 72.53 cents price, and it may face the following resistance levels. Looking at the chart, the first resistance we're looking at is the 72.98, which is the high of September the 4th. At second resistance is the 74 cents, which is a psychological number. And finally, the third resistance is at 74.13, which is a major horizontal resistance area. Now, on the downside, the Aussie-US may likely find support at the following levels. At the first support is the 72.53, which is the immediate lower trend line arm, if you notice that on the chart. Second support is at the 72 cents, which is a psychological number. And finally, the third support is a 23.6% Fibonacci level, which is at 71.39. The technical bias is expected to remain bullish as long as the 71.39, which is the 23.6 Fibonacci support, remains intact.
That's right. Now let's look at US Consumer Price Index exclude energy and food news. The US Department of Labor Statistics is scheduled to release numbers concerning the Consumer Price Index news today. According to economist forecasts, the Consumer Price Index CPI registered a reading of 0.2% in August as compared to 0.6% reading in the month before. The CPI reflects the price movement in the retail prices of the products and services being produced in the US. The price is evaluated after selecting a sample of products and services from different representative shopping baskets. It is to be clear that the US CPI doesn't include the price of volatile items such as food and energy to conclude the correct figure. Generally speaking, a high reading is seen better for the US dollar, hence suggests a bearish market for the Aussie-US pair and vice versa.
Okay, look, in conclusion, for the Aussie-US, over the last couple of days, the way it's been moving, buying the Aussie-US around the current levels might work well. Now we're going to move on to the US-Canadian.
The US dollar dips against the Canadian dollar on Friday, which is today, decreasing the price of the US CAD pair to less than 1.3200 ahead of the release of Bank of Canada Consumer Price Index core news. The technical bias remained bearish since the US CAD price printed a lower low in the recent downside move.
Now, the US Canadian is hovering around the 1.3188, and you'll find the following support levels. If you pay close attention to the chart, you'll see the first support is at 1.3116, which is the high of September the 7th. Second support is at 1.31 even, which is a psychological number. And finally, the third support is a major horizontal support located at 1.299. Now, on the upside, this pair may come across the following hurdles. At first resistance is the 1.3239, which is the high of August 25th. Second resistance is at 1.3259, which is the horizontal resistance area. And finally, the third resistance is again the 23.6 Fibonacci level located at 1.3290. The technical bias is expected to remain bearish as long as the 1.3290 which is a major horizontal resistance area, remains intact.
Alright, let's now look at Canada's Consumer Price Index core news. The Bank of Canada is scheduled to release numbers concerning the Consumer Price Index core news on September 16, 2020. According to the forecast of economists, Canada's core CPI registered a reading of 0.9% this year as compared to the reading of 0.7% in the year before. The CPI core figure reflects the price movement in the retail prices of products and services selected from the representative shopping basket on a sampling basis. It is to be noted that the figure doesn't include core 8 volatile items, including gasoline, fruits, fuel oil, vegetables, intercity transportation, natural gas, tobacco, mortgage interest to arrive on exact figures. Generally speaking, a high reading is seen as positive for the Canadian dollar, hence suggests a bearish market for the US CAD and vice versa.
That's correct, Yvonne. Looking in conclusion for the US CAD, given the overall economic outlook for this pair, selling this pair around the current levels might be a good idea. But as always, please trade with your head and not your heart. Only trade with what you can afford to lose, and at all times apply strict risk and money management techniques.
Yes, and please also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow our Instagram. And you can also leave your comment down below and let me know what you thought.
Until next time, which is Monday, by the way, have a great weekend.